Hi everyone, back with another blog. So today we will discuss about some advanced Docker commands. So in my previous video we can see some basic Docker commands. So in this video we will learn some advanced Docker commands. So let's get started. Okay, so let's start with okay. So let's start with pull command. Like if you want to get file from other resource, from external resource in your Docker file, right? So for that you can use a pull command. So like you can say how to get file from external source, right? So for that we can use docker pull and that image name. Okay, like we have Docker desktop, so there you get multiple images that already created, so you can directly get that image into your Docker. So for that you can use this command. Okay, so next jump to the next command. Like in my previous video we seen that how to create containers, how to create image, then how to delete that image, how to delete containers. Okay, so now we can see how to get logs of the how to check logs of that particular container. Okay, checks logs of particular container which you have created. Okay, so for that you can use like docker logs, then container id you have to use here. So then it will show the complete logs of that container. So how you will get container id? So from this ps command, right, we have docker, then container, or directly you can use docker ps minus a. So it will list out all the containers you have, then you can use that container id with the logs command, that is logs, docker logs container id. It will show you the complete logs of that container. Okay, now move to the next command, that is history command. We can see like how many images you created. Okay, so if you want to see the history, then how to check history of that images. Okay, history of images, like this command will show you like complete history of images what you have created. Docker history, then image name. So what commands you perform for this image, you know, like delete of image, creation of image, running of that image. So it will show all that history for particular image name which you provide here. Okay, now move on to the next command. Now the container and images are running state, right? So how to kill and how to stop that containers. Okay, so we have two commands for that, like kill command and stop commands. Okay, like how to kill running containers. Okay, to kill containers, or we can say stop containers. So for killing and stopping containers we have two commands, such as a docker kill and that container name or container id you can provide. Basically container id we can use. Okay, and also you can use docker stop container id. So these both command will work, used for the same purpose to stop container, but the difference is that the kill command is some faster. It is faster than stop command, and the stop command, like it takes some few seconds to stop your container. And the kill command immediately it will stop the container. Okay, so that's the main difference. Now move to the next command. So if you want to see what networks we are using, like what IP addresses we have for that container, right? So for that you can see network details. If you want to see the network details of your containers, where your containers are running and which networks you are using, so how to check networks, right? So for that you can simply use docker network ls. It will list out all the networks associated with the containers. Okay, and if you want more details about that container, then you can use a command like to check more details about particular container, about particular network, such as like IPv4 address, IPv6 address, subnet address, gateway IP address, MAC IP address. So this command will show the complete details of that network. For that we can use docker network, then inspect, then that particular network name, which you want to check the complete details. So like this you can use docker network inspect and that network name. Okay, now next move to the next command. Now we have created docker images, right? So that docker images also get stored in the docker hub or docker repository, right? So for that, like how to store that images which you have created to the docker repository or docker hub. So for that we can use command like how to store docker images. So once you create docker image, that should be stored in docker hub or docker repository, right? So how to store docker image to docker hub or repository. So for that we can use docker push command we can use for that, and then image name, which image you want to push to the docker hub. So this is the basic command for the for pushing or storing docker image. So for before this, like you should be like you must have docker images. You can check via this command like docker images. Okay, this command will list out all the Docker images which you have. Okay, so once you have Docker images, then first you have to log into the Docker hub account, right, or Docker repository. So like for that you have to log in first to the Docker repository. So for that we can use Docker. Let me add the okay, like how to log into Docker hub. Okay, so for that you can use command docker login. Okay, then once you hit enter, it will ask you the credential. Okay, login name and password. So once you enter credential, then you can use command like docker push in that image name. Okay, so this is how we push or how we store Docker images to the Docker hub or our repository. So here you will enter credential of your Docker hub account. So once you enter, then you can use command docker push then image name. Okay, now move to the next command. So now we have a containers which we have created. So now if we want to change the name of that container, or we want to rename a container, right? So for that, how to change container name, right? So for that we have one command, say docker rename, then enter your old container name. Okay, old container name, then space new container name which you want to change. So here with the rename command, docker rename, you can rename your container name like this. Okay, now if you want to stop, or if you want to, as we see the kill and stop command, right? So that command will completely stop containers. Okay, containers as well as processes running inside that containers. So these two commands will stop container completely. Okay, so now if you want to stop only processes running under that particular container, right? So for that we have so for that also we have command. Let me show you like how to, we can say pause. Okay, how to pause container, or how to stop processes running under container. Okay, so for that we have command. Let me jump to the next one. Okay. Okay, so now how to pause container processes, processes running under containers. So for that we have command like docker pause that container name. Okay, so the main important thing is here, it will pause only the processes running under that container. Okay, it will not stop container completely. So if you want to stop container completely, then we can use command kill and stop commands, docker kill and docker stop. Now we have paused that process is running under that container, right? So now if you want to start that processes, so how to do that, like how to restart processes running under container, running under paused container, we can say. So for that we can use command like docker unpause in that container now. Okay, so we have a pause and unpause command to stop processes running under particular container. Now next move to the next command, like if you want to see the port of the particular container, right? So for that how to check port number of container. So for that we can use docker port, then a container name. Okay, so this is the same as a Unix commands as we can used in our day-to-day activity. So for docker also, each docker command start with the docker name. Okay, we start with a docker, then it's based on, like if you want to see port number, then we simply have a port command. If you want to pause or if you want to stop processes, then we have pause and unpause. So see, these docker commands are basically very simple to understand and work with. Okay, now jump to the next command. Like if you want to see what changes happen for your container, right? In the previous, like as we already see how to check history of the images, right? With the history command, as here you can see the history, right? To check history of a image. Now if you want to see the history of container, like what commands, like how many directory or repository added, how many deleted, how many you updated the containers, change the containers name, so it will show that details. So how to check history of container, particular container. Okay, so for that we can use docker diff command, then container name. Okay, so diff command will show all directories which you have created under this container, how many you have deleted, and it will show based on the three letters, that is A for added, it will show the added one, added directory. Okay, A indicates added directory, then the second one is a D for deleted directory. Okay, and the last one is C for change or update directory name. So C indicate that change or updated directory. Okay, so it will list out based on these characters. It will show A, then the directory name which you have added, and D it will show then directory name, which means this directory has been deleted, and C then the directory name, so it indicate that the directory name has been changed or updated. Okay, now jump to the next command. So now if you want to check how many processes are running on a particular container, right? If you want to see how many and what processes are running under container, okay, so for that we can use docker top command, which is same in the Unix as well. So docker top, then container id. Okay, so it will show you same like a Unix, like UID, PID, PPID, okay, time, location of that container. Okay, so the top command will show the processes running under that with UID, PID, process ID, PPID, time, etc. Okay, so now if you want to check each process, how many like what process is consuming how much memory is consuming particular process, right? So for that we have okay, for that we can see like how to check memory usage, memory and CPU usage of container, usage of processes running under container, right? So for that we have command docker stats. Okay, docker stats, so this stats command will show the usage, memory and CPU, how much memory and CPU are consuming by each process. Okay, now next move to the next command. Okay, so that's all about some advanced docker commands, and hope you like this. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Yep, thanks for watching.